I'm pretty sure I don't have to convince anyone that Trump is the biggest liar ever anointed as president of a democratic country. I'm also sure we all think he's not fooling anyone with those lies, except his indoctrinated MAGA cult members. But since he's lying yet nobody believes him, a question arises. Why do it anyway? If it doesn't work, it's nothing but an exchange of words, isn't it? Well, not exactly. Trump has deep, dark reasons for constantly lying, and those deep, dark reasons are turning history on its head and bending our minds into a pretzel. Whether you're aware of the effect the Trump era has on us or not, our collective mental health is taking a massive hit, as it would at an individual level if we were constantly bombarded with the antics of a narcissist. Believe it or not, global leaders, history, and diplomacy are taking the hardest hit. Have you noticed how everyone who has to deal with Trump in any capacity, so not just his inner circle or his wealthy friends and dumb supporters, will start by praising his leadership, laughing at every joke he makes, and licking the ground he walks on? What a sorry display of human weakness. And what a ridiculous substitute for diplomacy. But hey, whatever works. We might be repulsed by this at an individual level, but the point is that world leaders are all getting the message. If they want to have an in with the president, they should pull out the flattery guns. And why does he lie so much anyway? Here are a few psychological reasons. Trump is restructuring reality. Whenever he tells a blatant, obvious, self-serving lie, he reminds me of the principles of manifesting. You know manifesting, right? Social media is full of it. It's the art, or scam, of creating your own reality through cultivating the experience of what it is that you want to feel, and then living and believing in that experience so that you can allow it to come into form. Any manifestation guru can tell you that if you want to create a certain reality, you have to act and feel as if that reality has already happened. Feel the result before it's present, and the result shall appear. Basically, if you believe hard enough, the universe will bend reality and do your bidding. Is that what Trump is doing, though? Well, no, not exactly. But as any respectable narcissist, he is unable to perceive reality the way it is, and is using all the power he can muster to create a new reality for himself, where he is the king of the world, the bestest man that ever lived. He's putting his heart and soul into it, and he wants others to acknowledge it as well. Now that's the part where he believes his own lies so hard that they start to materialize. On the other hand, there are lies he just tells without believing in them. Those are what grifters like Trump call business. Just business. Nothing but business. Truth be told, never by Trump, obviously. Lying gives liars a sort of power, even when nobody believes the lies. That's because lying creates confusion. Although you know the lie is a lie, you still don't know what the truth is. Have you ever known a compulsive liar? You know he's lying, but it doesn't help you much, does it? It's like talking with moving sands. You never know how he feels, where he stands, or what to do next. The best way to deal with such people is not to deal with them at all. But unfortunately, in the case of countries across the world, they don't really have the opportunity to not deal with the United States of America. And Trump just loves that. It makes him feel in control. Regular people like you and me always imagine every lie needs to have a tangible purpose and result. But for pathological liars and malignant narcissists like Trump, the lie is the purpose. The confusion, the stalling, the hidden reality, and the creation of a new version of it. These are all purposes in themselves. They do it for the thrill of it, and that's enough even when you don't get anything from it. You still get the pleasure of saying it. They're doing it for the experience. The effects it has on our minds, society, and ultimately history are colossal, because Trump is not your run-of-the-mill liar who you can just turn your back on. He's the president of the most powerful nation on earth. Statesmen have to deal with him whether they like it or not, and they don't like it. They don't like it one little bit, but they had to adapt, didn't they? Great Britain's Starmer, for example, who by all accounts is not the biggest fan of Donald Trump, had to adapt and praise the great powerful Orange Oz for changing the conversation on Ukraine. That's a quote. Does he actually believe that? Of course not. Nobody in Europe does. But if you cannot leave the scene, you have to deal with the scene the way it is. Mark Carney, the Canadian Prime Minister, did the same. Carney described Trump as a transformational president, relentless focus on the American worker, securing borders, ending the scourge of fentanyl, and revitalizing international security. Did he believe what he said? God, no. Canada despises Trump, but they do have to live next door, don't they? It's not like they can move house. India and Pakistan recently had a conflict. When the conflict was resolved, Trump took accountability for it. Obviously had nothing to do with it, but Pakistan praised the leadership of President Trump and acknowledged his help. Although they knew he didn't help, the world knew he didn't help. Even J.D. Vance knew he didn't. He said so himself. He said this has absolutely nothing to do with us. However, when the world's biggest bully claimed the victory, they gave him the victory. That's how Trump's incessant lying is restructuring society. World leaders are forced to modify their discourse and their interaction with the US because they'd rather have peaceful relations than have a mental war born out of nothing but ego. Trump's made-up reality is forcing the world to make up a fake reality as well. At the end of these 4 years, hopefully just 4, are we still going to be able to tell the truth from the lies? Will world leaders go back to actual diplomacy? Or will they keep using the same ego-tickling lies the bully demanded of them to keep the peace? It's not so easy to shift gears if nothing is forcing you to. Any lie that's repeated enough does become an alternate reality. There was nothing wrong, for example, with being Jewish until Hitler decided so. And when he bent the reality in his own head, he also bent the reality of the world and destroyed the lives of those he targeted. He had the power to do so. And Trump has even more power. Trump is silently messing with our brains, our history, and our lives. He's not just a liar, but a disruptor of global reality. The only question is, what are we going to do about it? Thank you for being here. Subscribe if you like the topic. I'll see you next time.